Okay, so yeah, that last one that worked out, and it's like, yeah, I can see that's a good place to start. It's a hook, and and then I was stuck on like the crazy sounding shit. It's like, no, man, don't. You got them now. Now go on about real shit, and then uh, once I get, and lead back around to when I'm telling the crazy shit, it all fits together and makes more sense. So I'm doing another one. Oh yeah, flip the motherfucker around. Looks like we got a game here. All right, so I was like, I got the plan, and then I need somebody to go with me to get stung, so I don't wind up fucking dead. you know. So I fucking got got my brother Billy to fucking in this plan. We're gonna go get all them beer cans down there on Lovers Lane. Bring them back here, and we're gonna build castles out of them. He's like, yeah, so what? It's like, well, actually, I went and got some, and I built a castle, and then. And when I couldn't get anybody interested, and I was talking to Billy, and then I said, here, and then I took the garden hose. I said, here, knock it down. He goes, but your cow, you built a cow, you went and got the cow, no. And I was like, no, go ahead. And he's like, and he squirts it down. And he's like, and I seen his face, he liked it. I was like, I go, yeah, that was cool. And it's like, but it wasn't big enough. We need more cans. Yeah. So he's like, come on, let's go get some more cans. He's like, he's like, can I hose it down again? Do I have to help build it? He's very transactional. It's like, so I got him to do it. So we went like a couple trips. We got like all the fucking beer cans down there and building our little castles and knocking them down with the hose and shit. And then my dad's like, the fuck are you doing all this garbage piling up all over my yard and shit, these fucking beer cans. And I was like, tell him what we're doing. He goes, like, don't do this, don't do that shit, throw that shit out. You know. So I said, come on, Billy, let's get one more run. There's one more run of cans down there. And so we can build the biggest castle, knock it down, and then throw it all away. So he's like, yeah, all right. So we go down there, and then I'm fucking down there. I'm like, are you, I'm telling myself, like, am I really going to do it? Because it's like the yellow jacket nests are just down from where we are, and there's beer cans around them. And we know not to go there. We done got all the rest of them, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over and get those. And he's like, what the yellow jackets? And it's like, yeah, don't, I'll be careful. So I went over and started picking them up, and then I started feeling the motherfucker stinging me and shit. Now, and I ain't bullshitting either. I done fucking gone to the library. I done fucking calculated or guessed or whatever, like 40 bee stings should do it. That should fuck me up enough without killing me to get these to get these motherfuckers off my back and maybe even come out the other end a genius with high uric acid levels. So I'm fucking getting stung, and I'm still picking up the beer cans, pretending I'm not getting stung so good because they tickle at first. Well, then Billy starts, ow, ow. He starts screaming, ow, no. I was like, run, get the fuck out of here. And he runs away, and I'm still sitting there. And he's like, come on, what are you stop? Like, what are you doing? Cause he sees I'm covered in them. I got a bunch of them, and I'm counting. Then I hit like 40, boom, I took off running. We're fucking running, screaming, these fucking yellow jackets chasing us all the way home and shit. We get home, and and we're screaming like all the kids are coming out like what the hell, and then my dad my dad comes out and he's like what's going on, what's all the commotion. He used to always say commotion, but anyway, so like I get stung by the bees, and my dad he looks at me and he says, Bobby, you better just go lay down and don't move. You might die. And then he looked at Billy. He said, come on, I'm take you to the hospital. He's like, well, but I can't. I shouldn't be moving. He'd take me to the hospital too, but all the movement. He's like saying, I think you're already going. I think you got stung too. I think you're fucked. So I go upstairs, lay down. I lay down in Billy's bed because I felt guilty, because I got him stung too. So it was like kind of like thinking about him. I lay down in his bed, and then it was like, well, first was like, oh man, my clothes hurt. And so I took off everything but my underwear and laid back down like, oh, that'll be, I'll be at least enough relief to relax, just lay still. And it was like, oh man, the wrinkles in the sheets and shit, they hurt. And I was like, oh man, get back up. I smoothed it all. I think I just pulled everything off the bed and just laid on top of the mattress. And I was like, oh yeah, that was just like really painful, but not as bad as the wrinkles. The wrinkles felt like fucking knives cutting through my skin or some shit. So then I laid there, and then next thing you know, I feel fine. I'm like, wow, well, that was cool. Yeah, and I get up, and I'm like, wow, I'm okay. All right. Oh, I better go downstairs, tell everybody, because all the kids are. Well, that's the thing is like, I knew all the kids were still outside. I knew they were all sitting in a circle. I knew they were all like kids from around the neighborhood had all come down. They're sitting waiting to see if I die, probably, and what happens to Billy at the hospital. And my dad, having said the dying thing, got everybody, it became a thing. And so, but I knew all this, and I felt great, So I'm like walking down the hallway, and I get to the top of the stairs, and I look down to go down the stairs. I'm like, wait a second, where's my fucking body? And I look down, it's like, uh-oh, yeah. Went back down the hall and looked in the bed, and like, there I was all laying there all pale and shit, not moving, not breathing. I was like, fuck, man, I'm dead. I'm a fucking ghost or some shit. And it was cool as fuck. Yeah, but see, it was like when I stepped in that circle and I saw everything that the other guy knew. It was like, whoa, it opened up the whole world because they're training this motherfucker in all kind of secret shit. And then I'm just like this kid who goes to school getting taught this bullshit history and religion, like all this stuff I believe is just like, this is like the real stuff, and I'm like, whoa, wow, I can connect all the dots there. It's like, this is what, well, it was like that when I got stuck, when I'm like, once I realized I was dead, and then instead of freaking out, I was like, wow, I'm like, I know everything there is to know. It was even more than when I woke up, when they were doing in that session and stepped in the circle. It was like, oh my God, it was incredible. But then there's this other part of me, the other guy. And he's like, come on, we got to get up the street where the couple up the street, the young couple just moved in. They're getting ready to have sex and make a baby, and you got to be up there to be the baby. before your body gets too cold, before your brain is totally gone, because once you're totally dead, uh, it's like I got a kind of like the ghostly power I had was because I was still warm, as like grow colder and deader. Is according to this other side of me, I was going to start seeing all the other ghosts. They were going to be like ghosts who had been dead and cold for a long time everywhere. You'd be like you don't see them, they're everywhere, and you need to be up because they want to be that baby too. They want to be born. Like everybody fights over who gets to be conceived. But if you're freshly dead, you got like a much stronger hand to play, And so if I can get up there and be the first one in line before I start seeing the rest of them, they won't have a chance. Well, I'll have a better chance. Like it's telling me all this shit in my thoughts, and I know that it's true somehow. It's like another side of me, but it's also the other guy. It's like that's how they split you, using the side of you that's there for when you die, and it knows, and you find out when you die, and it's like, okay, this is how you get, this is how you traverse the underworld, like it's the guy that's traversed it with me for other lives, so it knows the way. It knows more than I do until I'm dead. Then I know what it knows, And I'm like, no fucking way, man. I'm getting back in my body, because this shit's. I want to tell, because it's like, it was cooler than the Bible. It was cooler than God. It's like, if this is what's really over here, I can make a lot. That's what it is. Like, I can get rich as fuck, because the Bible is the best-selling book in the world, and I'm figuring out what's really going on. I'll have a better selling book than the Bible. Fuck you. I'm getting back in my body. And the motherfucker is like, you haven't been breathing. You've been dead too long. If your body if you can get it to wake back up, you're going to be fucking like retarded and shit. I'm like, well, I'm going to try anyway, and so I started fucking trying, and nothing's working. And then I finally just like I fight, like, come on, move, wake up, motherfucker. And nothing's working, and I'm like, okay, there's only one thing I haven't tried, and that's just laying there and not give a shit. Let the other guy's voice just disappear. While he's like, oh, come on, you're wasting time. You're gonna wake up and you're gonna be retarded. You're taking me with you. And I'm like, just relaxing, right, fading, and just about the point that I was just smiling and totally relaxed and cool, and whatever fate it was, I decided, and I was okay. As soon as I was totally whatever, I'm not freaking on it, no matter what, my toe twitched, my fucking gout toe. It twitched, and I've been waiting for anything. I'm totally relaxed, and as soon as it twitched, I fucking like come up out the bed, taking a big gasp of air. And I'm like, I fucking made it, and I felt fine. I was like, I felt better than ever. I mean, I'm all puffed up and blue. I mean, I'm all fucked up, but I feel great. So then I go downstairs to tell everybody I'm all right, and I've only been upstairs a few minutes. I've only been upstairs like 10 minutes or something. I think my sister said, well, less than 10 minutes, but around 10 minutes. And so I go downstairs, and I'm still in my underwear, I don't want to put no clothes on. It still hurts and shit. And I go out the back door, and there's all the kids sitting around in a circle just like I'd seen, and I'm like, where's Dennis? And they're like, oh, he just went home a minute ago. I'm like, oh my God, because I just seen him there. And that's why I was like, oh, maybe none of that shit was real, because Dennis wasn't out here. And then they're like, oh, he just went home. And I said, when? He goes, just now. I'm like, so he was there. And so then they're like, oh, are you all right? You should go lay down. I was like, no, I'm fine, you know. And they're like, how many times you get stung? It's like, what do you mean, how many? Like, how the fuck do I know, man? He's like, well, count them. And I was like, you know, a lot of them were, I couldn't see on my back. You know, I was like, started trying to count. And it's like, here, Kenny, you count them, you know. So Kenny counts and he gets to 39. I'm like, you count again. And he was like, well, you know, because we're little kids, you know, going to school and shit, just learning to count and shit, you know, like he's younger than me. I'm like 12 and, you know, so he was a little taken aback, like, what are you saying I can't count? I said, just count them again. So he counts it again and he gets to 39. He's like, 39, you know, like, fuck you. And as soon as he hit 39, one flew out of my underwear, landed on my chest, stung me, and flew off, leaving its stinger pumping in my chest with like a little bit of blood coming up into it and shit. And it flew off, and I said, 40. I knew it was 40. You know. And then we all watched, and the bee flew out over the backyard, and we heard it buzz, 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 and you could tell from the sound it went down in the grass, you know, because it lost its stinger and it died, you know. So, like, I didn't tell nobody about any of it, the stuff I'm telling you. And I waited, you know, 9 months. Well, I waited, and it was like a few months later or whatever. It was like I won't say their name, but the couple up the street is like, she's pregnant. You know, I'm like, oh my god. And then it's like, well, but they're a young couple, you know, like they got a couple little kids and they're having another one. So fucking what? You know, it's like, oh yeah, so it's got to be 9 months, you know. So I made sure I remembered the date. I was like, I waited, and 9 months, and it was like exactly 9 months later they had this little kid. You know, I'm like, fuck, you know, like Dennis was there. The woman I'm supposed to be in the belly of had a fucking baby. And 9 months later, I'm like, what the fuck, you know? Like, I think that's the end of that one. Now I gotta figure out. Because, see, I mean, you know, that sounds crazy too. But it's like, it's worthy fiction, you know. It's worth listening to without believing or not believing or even disbelieving. It's still like, there's gotta be more. Yeah, that's the end of that one.